So we find ourselves here again talking about great baseball. David Ronsley, Perfect Games Vice President of Player Personnel. My name is Darren Sutton, seeing you and talking about Saturday, Session 1 and the first couple of games before we get into the afternoon and the evening games. But we're also getting closer, David, to Championship Monday, which means now if teams are undefeated, they're certainly worth talking about. Besides their prospects, there's a couple that you'd like to speak of. One of them, they've been champs before, Chet Lemon's Juice.
Yeah, Chet Lemon's Juice is an organization I personally am guilty of overlooking. They're two-time champions. They co-champions. They split it in 2010 with the Dirtbags. They split it in 2005 with the East Cobb organization. They're 2-0 now. We have 3-0 teams. They're 2-0, but they've won very easy. They're playing very well, and they always come into these championships without a lot of big-name prospects, but they play together so well as a team. Their top guy, right-handed pitcher Drew Carlton, threw yesterday. He was sharp up to 92 miles an hour. If they get to play on Monday, he should be ready to go again. But this is the true epitome of a team here that plays better than it's a better than sum of the parts type situation.
There's another undefeated team that actually has some big-time stars and prospects, and that's the Ohio Warhawks.
Yeah, the Ohio Warhawks, they're 3-0 right now, and we've talked about Cody Medeiros a lot. You know, Cody Medeiros on the mound pitching. I got to see him hit today, and the scouts and the college coaches love him as a hitter. In fact, one scout said, if he wasn't such a good pitcher, I wouldn't mind drafting him as a hitter. He lines a single up the middle the first time I see him. But they have two underclassmen that really stood out for me today. Caden Griner's their shortstop, a 2015 from Las Vegas. Very polished defensive player, plus speed, plus arm strength. And although he's a 5'11", 170-pound type, has a lot of bat speed. And he's from Las Vegas. There's a young man on the team named Ty Buck from Red Wing, Minnesota. 6'4", 210 pounds, and he has just awesome raw bat speed. He has as good a raw bat speed as anybody here. It's a little bit of a long swing. It has a couple hitches in it, but just watching him swing the bat and imagining if he squares up a ball, it's going to be like an Alex Jackson type event the way it's going to come off the barrel.
You know, speaking of Cody Medeiros a moment ago, of course, a top prospect, left-handed pitcher from Hawaii. I got to admit, I'm so enamored by his pitching. I didn't even know he was a good hitter, so great update for you. I bumped into Darren Erstad, one of my favorite players of all time. He now is the head coach at Nebraska, 11th recruiting class in the nation recently. Erstad's not alone, though. There are coaches all over the place, and Erstad battles a team in the Big Ten. One of the teams that you've noticed, Rob Cooper just took over the Penn State program, and the Penn State program has some pretty darn good recruits here.
Yeah, and we talk about the big programs in the South a lot, the Floridas, the North Carolinas, even Virginia, LSU. But there's a lot of these teams in the northern tier that are doing great things. You mentioned Nebraska, which has a couple of perfect game All-Americans on their roster now. Penn State, I got to see two of their left-handed pitching recruits in the last 24 hours. One of them, Taylor Lehman, is a senior. He plays for Royal Scout Team, 6'7", 215. He was 86, 89, worked way downhill into the bottom of the strike zone, and he's a guy that if he goes to Penn State, he could be throwing that 91, 94 in 3 or 4 years and be a top draft prospect. They had another young man, a junior on the Team Evo Shield, Dylan Seifert. He pretty much sat 88, 90 today for a couple innings. A little smaller kid, 6'1" maybe, but just a very live arm, a year younger. He could be a low 90s guy by the time he gets to Penn State. So that program making some noise in the Big Ten.
Interesting, too, Mick Aoki is the head coach at Notre Dame, and last year Aoki had 177 games started by true freshmen. So that's a good thing, especially when you win 30 or more games. Turning over with great talent, he's got some more young talent on the way. You've seen him.
Oh yeah, there's 3 pitchers here who have committed to Notre Dame, all seniors, who are just top-of-the-line type prospects. We mentioned a few of them before, who pitched for Cangelosi Baseball in Brad Bass and Jake Godfrey. Jake Godfrey, I was talking to a scout today and said, that's an All-American caliber guy. He's 90-94 with a plus curveball. I saw another one today pitching for Baseball U, Evelina Rubal from New Jersey. Big 6'4" kid, very projectable. Early on just sat 88, 89. You know he's going to throw harder. But again, a northern tiered school in Notre Dame that's making big inroads into these top prospect lists.
All right, some individuals behind the plate. You know I love talking about catchers. Devin Fisher, Virginia young man.
Yes, Devin Fisher from the Richmond Braves. Frankie Polari, who's been scouting all the games out at the Cardinals side of the field, has been wearing me out for 2 days. Talk about Devin Fisher, because he has just fallen in love with Devin Fisher's defensive ability. They got him 87 miles an hour throwing down to second between innings, which is like elite level arm strength. He blocks balls. He shows leadership behind the plate. And he's also a pretty good hitter. Right now, he's a 100th ranked prospect in the country. He's signed to go to the university, or he's committed to go to the University of Virginia. But this type of performance might make him, a potential pro pick next June.
So we go from behind the plate to on the mound, and I mean way up on the mound. Tyler McGill, you like him?
Yeah, Tyler McGill pitched through 4 innings today for the Garcia Parra Baseball Group. 6'7", 220, 88 to 92. Only threw 17 balls in 4 innings, 59 pitches,
Wow.
only 17 balls. So he's a big guy with great mechanics and a great arm and command to go with it. And part of the interesting story about him, he has an older brother, Taylor, who skipped his senior year, went to Loyola Marymount, had some arm problems, which has set him back, and he's a potential first-round pick out of Loyola Marymount this year. And the younger brother, they're both 6'7", so I can't say the smaller brother is a potential high-round pick out of high school in California.
All right, so it's always fun to come down and to see you guys, you scout types, find someone that wasn't at the top of the list coming in. And Brad Depperman, he kind of fits that profile. Young man out of Eastlake High School, Palm Harbor, Florida. Doesn't he? Fits that profile, right?
He is perfect for it. He's a senior. He is ranked in our rankings 396th or something like that. I can't personally remember seeing him throw. He's pitching the 5th, 6th inning for Chandler baseball today. He comes out throwing 91, 93, as easy as can be. 81, 84 slider, and all of a sudden there's a buzz in the stands, people coming over, and the young man doesn't have a college commitment. And I hope there were a lot of college coaches there looking, because 91, 93 easy power slider, that's pro stuff, and the young man doesn't have a college commitment.
Great stuff. Great find, David Ronsley, Darren Sutton. We will end this segment. We had a chance to talk with Major League Baseball's Director of Umpiring and Umpiring Development, Rich Rieker. Seeing his son Michael Rieker pitch, Michael is going to head to Air Force. So, his thoughts, Mr. Rieker, all the baseball that he has seen on this event. His son Michael Rieker is on his way to Air Force, and it's fun to watch him play for Chet Lemon's Juice. And a long time, Rich Rieker doing a great job. More than 1,000 games regular season umpiring in the major leagues, and now in charge of all of Major League Baseball's umpire development. And for you, we'll talk umpiring in a minute, but you're here because you're dad. And I would imagine just a few minutes ago, he closed it down with a pretty inning. Had to be fun to watch.
It's always great to see your son play, and it's great to be here in Jupiter. And I just concluded my season with the ALCS supervising there, and I get to about half of Michael's games and most of the games during the spring. So this is a treat for me to come out and see this great operation and see Michael pitch.
Yeah, this is crazy, isn't it? All the baseball that's being played here. And what's fun for these players like Michael and for even some younger players is the level of competition field to field.
It's unbelievable. I've been in baseball 32 years, and I've never seen anything like this. I thought I was at some heavily scouted games in the minors and the majors around the trade deadline and everything else, and even the perfect game tournaments up north. But nothing like this with 500 plus scouts. It's truly an organization that's obviously getting the word out and getting these kids seen to possibly further their careers.
Director of Umpire Development, Rich Rieker, here as dad, though, watching his son Michael. He was dealing closing out a win for Chet Lemon's Juice.